So let's go ahead and start by taking a comfortable seat. Resting your hands on the tops of your thighs, closing your eyes or casting your gaze down. Finding the support beneath you and lengthening your spine up towards the sky. Deepening your breath. So go ahead and connect to the movement of your breath, the muscles and the bones that are moving in response to your breathing. And bringing in your Ujjayi breathing now. So you feel when you place the tongue lightly behind the upper two teeth and allow a hollowness at the back of the throat and a little tone deeper in the throat. And see if you notice that the sound, the Ujjayi sound, like similar to the sound when you put a seashell up to your ear, that sound that you hear now with your inner ear, with your breath, see if that sound is soothing to you. And you might be counting the length of the breath and making the breath even, both the inhale, the exhale, allowing space for the pause between the breath. And then at the bottom of your next exhale, go ahead and release any control on your breath. But keep your attention focused inside. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart. It's honoring the time you've taken to come to your mat this morning. And I'll open the practice. I'll chant the sound of Om. And I'm going to sing Saha Vavatu, Saha Now, Bhunaktu, together. Saha, together may we be protected. Together may we be nourished. May our practice bring us energy, and may it illuminate. May it bring light. May there be this quality of luminosity to dispel any darkness. And may we not hate each other. May we respect and love each other. We'll take a deep inhale. If you're joining me, I'll inhale deeply. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Savidyam Karavavai, Tejasvina Tamastu, my Vidyashavai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And with your next exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. All right, well, let's come up to standing and come over to a spot that will work for you that at least is the size of your palm. So that we're going to do open the front of the chest. So if you'll come over to a spot near a wall, and the distance you're going to stand at the wall is going to be, I would stand probably about 6 or 8 inches, maybe even a little more from the wall. If you'll start first facing the wall, and then take your right hand out. So if you have 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, say 2 o'clock, place your hand on the wall, finger pads and knuckles, and then start reaching down your arm all the way to your hand. Now you're going to turn both feet towards your left. So we have the right hand on the wall, sorry. Feet, pelvis turn towards the left, and then let's step right foot forward a little bit. Relax your left arm down. Drop into your breathing again. And then, can you bring your awareness to your breastbone, your sternum, and then all the way up at the top of the sternum, the upper breastbone, the manubrium. Can you, from deep inside, can you lift the manubrium up? And then from the upper breastbone all the way across towards your collarbone, your right collarbone, take that tissue and roll it up towards the collarbone. And from the middle of your breastbone, so we're at the edge of pec major, take that and roll that up to the upper right arm bone. the whole time you're still breathing deeply. Ribs 1 and 2 on your right, you might also be rolling those a little up so you can lift those bones up. And when you do that, do you notice what's happening at the back of the right shoulder blade? You should feel the lower tip of the right shoulder blade or the back of the right shoulder blade might be connecting more to the back of your rib cage. Reaching all the way into the hands. And then you'll exhale, turn towards the wall. Let's let both arms dangle. And then let's take the second side. So left hand finds the space at the wall. Connect the left hand, turn to the right. Pelvis turns right. Hand is at about 11 o'clock. And then you're gonna step the leg that's closer towards the wall out. And since we want the spine to be vertical, that's why we don't want to stand too close to the wall. We want the spine vertical. And then go back to the top of the breastbone. Lift at the top of the breastbone. Not by pulling, but by dropping inside, right? And then from the upper breastbone all the way to the left collarbone. This is the upper fibers of your pectoralis major. Can you lift those fibers up? And when you do you feel the collarbone roll slightly up? And then also the large part of pec major goes all the way across and to the upper arm bone. So can you also lengthen that? When you did all that, is your hand still connected to the wall? Do you still feel the index finger knuckle, your thumb? And then what happens if you roll ribs 1, 2 up towards the sky a little bit? Lift them up. What's the heart space like? Can you support right inside the rib cage, up in the front? Can you get a sense of that space of your heart? Keep it and lifting. It's not forcing it, but just noticing, like, is the heart lifted? And what happens when I just give a little more support for that heart space? All right, and then we're gonna bend the elbow, turn towards your wall. Take your arms, can you take the arms just kind of straight out in front of you? So like my wall is out here. So the wrists are about shoulder height. And let's go ahead, you're gonna walk the feet back and take a half Uttanasana at a wall. Half Uttanasana at the wall. So you walked your feet back so the ankles are underneath the hips. And then you're gonna reach your pelvis back. You're still reaching firmly into the hands. Still broad across the upper back. And you might notice when you're in this position, what is your breath like right now? And then take another deep inhale. And with your next exhale, go ahead and step towards your wall. Relax both arms. Great. And then let's go ahead and come back to your spot. You can move your blankets out of the way if they're still there. And we're going to take a wide stance for warrior 2. So in your warrior 2, go ahead and turn your right foot towards the right and your back foot in slightly. Inhale, take the arms out wide. So when you take the arms out wide, deep inhale, let's just notice that space across the front of the chest again. Another deep inhale, and with your exhale, warrior two. So you're bending the front knee. Take your gaze and turn towards the back hand. So you're still reaching and lengthening all the way out, the back fingers, your back heel. Yeah. Then turn the gaze back to center. Let's see. And then Ellie, take a little longer stance. Go a little longer. Yeah. There you go. Turn your gaze towards your front. So even when you turn your gaze towards the front, did you feel your back shoulder pull a little forward? Can you still lengthen out? Let's relax the back arm and turn the front palm skyward. This inhale rising. Another deep inhale there. We're going to exhale to warrior, back to warrior two. And then let's turn both palms to the sky. Inhale, lift the arms, straighten your front leg. Relax both of your arms. And let's spin the feet the other direction. So even wearing masks, not over our eyes, masks over the nose and the mouth is affecting where our head and neck are in position. So it's nice, we have this time to not do that. So let's inhale, take the arms out again. Exhale, bend the front knee. So bring your attention to the sternum. We know that the sternum is a little turned toward the left. And when you turn your head to face your back hand, still staying open through the front of the chest. Let's turn the gaze back towards your left. And then relax the back arm, palm to the sky, inhale, rising. Another inhale. And then exhale, back to warrior two. A little settling in, warrior two. And then we'll inhale, lift both arms up to the sky, straighten the front leg, great. Relax both arms, bring the hands up, to the hips. We're gonna take a wide-legged forward fold. So if you know you need blocks, bring them out in front of you. Lift at the top of the breastbone again, and exhale, let's bow forward. So we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Will you please walk your hands out to downward dog arms? So hands can be either on blocks or they might be on the ground. You might be on your finger pads, you might be on your palms. Can you balance the weight between the heel and the ball of the foot? And as you do that, as you lengthen forward, yeah, you're reaching those hands forward. Weight is balanced between the heel and the ball. And can you strongly reach from the inner knee to the inner heel of both feet? When you do this, when you reach from your inner knee, like the lower inner adductor, all the way to the feet, we're looking to level the pelvis. And once again, noticing your breath. And just one more time, can you strongly reach from your shoulder blades to the upper arms, to the hands, at the same time that you take your rib cage toward your pelvis? So you're going to keep lengthening away from the hands. And that's great. Now go ahead and walk the hands back and shift them up onto your hips. Inhale, come up. Turn your right foot out, left foot in. Side angle. Let's take a block to the outside of that shin. And when you're ready, inhale, lift both of your arms. And exhale, come to a Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. So you're reaching into the left outer heel. Oh boy. Feel that space from the crest of the pelvis on the left to the outer heel on the left to the side ribs on the skyward side. And then inhale, rise back up. And switch to the second side. Inhale, take the arms out. Exhale, Parsvakonasana, side angle. So the perineum is pointing towards the back foot. Great. And then inhale, come back up. Exhale, make the feet parallel. Inhale, lift through the top of the breastbone. Exhale, we're bowing forward again. Bowing forward. This time, the hands are coming down. They can be on blocks again. So the legs are straight, whatever you need to keep your legs straight. We're bringing the wrists under your shoulders. And then can you take your right hand into the space between the two hands? Lengthen through the crown of the skull. Again, strong through the legs. You're still reaching through both legs. You want the pelvis to stay level. But let's take your left arm and following the gaze to the left thumb, reach the arm straight out to the side. Twisting the torso. Twisting through the rib cage. The hand might come parallel with the ground. And then maybe it keeps going, or maybe here you decide to take the hand onto the hip and just keep turning the thoracic spine. Exhale, come back to center. Switch your hands. Reach straight down into the ground. Strong through both legs. And again, there's your right hand. You see your right thumb? Reach into your left hand as you begin to turn and follow the left hand all the way with the gaze until you see that that's your right hand, sorry, is parallel with the floor. Then as you keep turning your rib cage, you might end up bringing that hand to the hip so that the neck doesn't get all cranky. And then we're going to exhale back to center. Bowing forward. And then let's shift the hands to the hips. Inhale, come up. Exhale, step the feet together. And just pausing in mountain pose for a moment. You're welcome to close your eyes. And to get a sense of the front of the body, your back body, All right, and then release that. Okay, so we're gonna take, go through a little sun salutation. But for this one, let's have your blocks at the top of your mat. I'll be sideways. And let's have a blanket also available. And this blanket is gonna go on the ground, a ways back from my blocks, because that's gonna be where my, it's gonna be underneath my belly. I can make an adjustment for it when I need be. But then you'll go ahead and when you're ready, step forward. So you'll be right there at your blocks. All right. And take a moment to bring your hands back in front of your heart. Lengthen up through the crown of your skull. Release your arms. And inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale halfway. And exhale to plank pose. So you're going to be in your plank pose. You feel that the deep abdominal muscles wrapping all the way around towards the midline on the front of your body. Let's inhale again. And now let's exhale. Lower both knees. So I notice my blanket is a little far back. I'm going to scoot it forward. What I want is we're going to come down to Cobra, and we're going to use a blanket to support us. So in other words, when you bend your elbows and bring your chest down, can you slide the blanket up now? So it's going to be more under the belly. So it's actually above the two hip points, lower ribs to those two hip points is where my blanket is. And then we're going to slide the hands back. So the wrists are probably going to bump right into the blanket, forehead to the ground. Tops of the feet on the floor, legs connected to the earth, tone at the inner thigh, and when you're ready, inhale to a little cobra. So you're lifting the top of the breastbone, broadening all the way out to the arms, and exhale slowly back down, all the way down, and if it's okay, your forehead might touch. When you next inhale, come up again, another cobra. Back of the neck is long. Exhale, bow. One more. And exhale, lower. Inhale to all fours. And exhale to downward facing dog. Downward dog or puppy pose. Once again, you're strongly reaching shoulder blades to the upper arms, to the index finger knuckles, to the hands. With your next inhale, lift your left leg up. And exhale, left foot forward. You might grab your blocks again to put underneath your hands. And here, take your blanket and scoot it back. because it's going to support your back knee. So you're going to lower the back knee, support it on the blanket, and then let's pull the blocks back, pull them all the way back towards the blanket. So here we are, we're releasing the pubic bone away from the front inner thigh. So sometimes when we do a low lunge, sometimes just notice, are the abdominal organs, the lower abdominal organs, are they all pressing forward towards the front of the body? Can you kind of balance, do I want them to be towards my sacrum or falling towards my front abdominal wall? Where's the middle for you? Where's the middle between the two, front and back of the body? And then can you lift again at the top of the breastbone? Okay, then we're gonna press down, reach back, and step the other foot forward. So when I put this foot forward and I bend my front knee, it goes past my front ankle. And I can notice when you come into the lunge, just noticing if you're allowing all the abdominal contents to fall completely forward, or, how do you have it? And can you balance that a little bit from front to back? And how do I keep that balanced and still lift at the top of the breastbone, at the top of the sternum? Another deep inhale. And then let's exhale and release that back and take another downward facing dog or puppy pose. Excellent, great. And then let's inhale, come forward to plank. And let's move our blanket out of the way this time. Exhale, you can lightly touch the knees to the ground. And exhale, bring your chest down. Hands along the side body. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, plank, downward dog. Couple deep breaths there. And then exhale. Let's walk the hands towards the feet. Shift them to the hips. And inhale, come up. Exhale, hands back in front of the heart. And release both arms. Great. Very good. I still want to work at the front here. So can we take a block? We're going to come down to the ground. You're going to need a blanket to pad the knee again, the back knee. So I'm going to put knees upon this blanket. I've got my blocks. And I'm going to put my right foot on top of the block. So the right foot goes on top of the block. And the space between the back knee and the right foot, you'll have your left block for your hand. And the right hand can be at the top of the thigh. So once you're there, once you've got your foot up on top of your block, or at least the heel, the toes can hang off if your foot is bigger than the length of your block. Can you once again let the right shin go forward? Yeah. Are you letting the left pubic bone release back a little bit? You're not holding the left pubic bone up. So the pubic bone's going back. And then with your right hand, it's on top of the right thigh. My right elbow's bent, but I'm going to use that just to lift myself up, not to necessarily do a back bend, but to support the lifting through the inside of my body, lifting up. And I'm not going to allow all of my abdominal organs come all the way forward in my body. I'm going to keep them back a little. I really want to balance that. Because I notice it affects what's happening at the front of my lumbar spine. If I just let it all fall forward, it actually pulls some of those vertebrae a little forward. So I want to give them a little more support. So that I'm going to keep a little space at the back of the diaphragm. All right, let's switch sides. So the block's going to be for the left foot, block for the right hand. And here as I come into this low lunge with the front foot elevated, I am letting the pubic bone move away from the navel. I'm noticing whether I'm allowing all my abdominal organs to fall forward, and if I am, I'm going to try to balance that a little better, front to back. But I notice when I pull my abdominal organs back that sometimes I feel like the front of my chest is falling. So I'm going to use my left hand just to help me just find a little more length through the front of my sternum, my heart, my upper ribs. Great. Okay. And then I'm going to press back. Now, is it okay for you to, if some of you are able, let's see, I'm going to open my blanket up. I'm going to make my blanket a little bit bigger. And I'm going to just kneel on my blanket. And if it's okay with your knees and your ankles, you could be kneeling like this. If not, you could take a block and put it right on the heels, not the Achilles tendon, but right on the heels, and you might be sitting up a little higher. We're just going to take a little twist. So either way, whether I'm sitting right on my heels or I have a block that's right on between my heels and my seat, it's not resting at all on my Achilles tendon or my calves. And then if I have another block, I'm going to put it off to the left. All right. So here, we're just going to take a simple twist towards the left. And you can you're either elevated on a block or you're sitting on the heels. Just a simple twist. And then let's come back to center. And let's go the other way. So we'll move the block around to the right. Left hand can somewhere come across. Great. And then let's exhale, come back to center. Okay, we'll come up off of the block or off of the heels, whichever you are. And here you can take either puppy or a dog pose. One more time. Strongly reaching toward the hands. The heart could reach to the hands, even though the rib cage is going towards the pelvis. Great. All right, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to bring the knees to the ground and walk the hands back. And let's set up for a bridge pose. So some of you might want a blanket that's going to go underneath your upper back. We're just going to do a few bridges, a twist before we come into a more supported bridge pose. So right now though, if I'm going to use a blanket under my shoulders, I'm going to have my head on the ground, no weight on the neck. The blanket is just under my shoulders. And I'm going to take the arms into kind of a robot position. All right. And when you're ready, inhale, lift the pelvis. So you're lengthening out the inner thighs toward the knees and down the shin to the heels. And then exhale, let's lower and rest for a moment. Let's take another one. Again, tops of the shoulders down towards the ground. Inhale, lift the pelvis. As you lengthen out the inner thigh to the knee, down the shin bone to the heel. lower again. Let's take one more bridge. When you're ready, go ahead. Is the heart lifting up? And then your exhale, when you're ready, you can come back down to the ground. If you have a blanket underneath the shoulders, you could go ahead and move that off to the side and just lie on the ground, knees bent, feet on the floor. Can you take now your right heel towards your right sit bone? You might, with your right hand, I'm sorry, that's not the right heel. Let's take the left one. Left heel towards the right sit bone. And you might grab on to the left ankle with your right hand as you drop your left knee down towards the ground. Left arm can be out to the side. Or maybe the left arm is up alongside your left ear. Then we're going to come back up to center, second side. Now your right arm might be alongside somewhere, or you might have slid it up alongside of the right ear. And then we'll come back to just a resting place with both feet on the floor. Now, let's bring both knees to the chest for a moment and clasp the hands around the knees. So we're drawing the knees in. All right, great. And then roll over to one side and use your arms and push yourself up. All right, let me just tilt this, make sure you see me okay, I don't know. All right, so for this next part, what I'm gonna do is I had said, there's a few different ways you could do it. One way would be, you would take 2 blocks that you're gonna need those to go under the pelvis. So you've got your 2 blocks off to one side. If they're cork blocks, if they're not the foam blocks, if your blocks are made of cork, then you're also going to want to have a blanket, because you're going to pad those blocks when you put them under you. Then I had said you could either use, if you have 2 more blocks, you can use that, or maybe you have some cushions that are kind of like bolsters. And the bolsters, they come in so many different thicknesses, but maybe there's some cushions or a little more dense pillows. And maybe you have more blankets. So it's pretty tall, right? This is a pretty tall stack. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So I've got this tall stack here, and I'm going to set up where, let me put my blocks so you know where they are. Nothing underneath my head. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my feet are on the ground, and I'm going to pick up the pelvis, and I'm going to put one block and maybe another block underneath my pelvis, and that might be enough. If my blocks are made of cork, these ones are not, but if they were the cork blocks like Evelyn has, then I would probably put a little padding right there, another blanket. Just if I have the blocks that are just a little more density, okay? If I have just foam blocks, I probably don't need that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my legs, and this is why I want this stack to be pretty high. If this stack is not high enough, or maybe even an ottoman of some sort would work for you. If that's, otherwise you'll feel like it might be too much of a back bend. This is the pose. Sometimes I like to put my feet up against the wall here as well, my heels. So, and I could see how, and if that feels like too much, just keep your feet on the floor. But I could see how having a little more padding, even on these foam blocks, I might enjoy. As I'm there, I'm going to add a little padding to that. So the blocks, again, they're under the sacrum. For most of us, they're probably under the lower to mid sacrum. I am reaching out my legs. And if my feet were touching the wall, I could get that feedback of the wall, me to the wall, and the wall to me. So I do want to have some tone in my legs. I don't know if I can see any of you. Let's just take a couple more breaths here. And then if your feet are up on the bolsters, you'll bring the feet to the floor, and you'll pick up one block at a time and move the blocks out of the way so the pelvis can come back to the ground. All right. Now, let's go ahead and roll over to one side. Use your arms and push yourself up. So if you have a stack, if you have a little stack that you were using for your legs, then can you take part of your stack and put it off to one side? if you did not have a stack, don't worry about it. You'll still do this pose. You just won't have the supported version. You could have some blocks. We're going to take, the knees are still bent, feet on the ground. I'm going to shift my hips a little away from the stack, straighten that bottom leg that's toward the stack, and roll over. So I'm on the outside. I've rolled to my left. I'm on the outside of my left hip. And my shin and knee and ankle are resting up on the stack. My right arm is out to the side. Both my arms are wide. And it's a good time to just notice, where are you holding right now? And can you let go of some of that holding that might be happening? Especially if, for example, the lower body is turned to the left. That space between the lower sternum and your upper right hip, outer thigh. How can you release something there? All right, then we're going to do the second side. So, you could either turn your body around or you might shift your stack over to the other side. Arms are wide. Shift the hips a little away from the side you're going to twist toward. Straighten the bottom leg. And then turning the lower body towards this way. If you have some props, you might have the knee and the shin and the ankle all resting up on those props while you're lying on the outer hip of that side, opposite side. And once again, what can you let go of here? Where are you holding in that deep abdominal area? Or maybe it feels more superficial to you. All right, so let's come back to center. Just center the pelvis again. Good. And then let's roll over to one side. Use the arms and push yourself up. And let me show you. I want to do a supported Baddha Konasana where we have, so if I didn't have these two bolsters, what I would use would be 2 blocks end to end. And even if I had one bolster, I could put it on top of those, or a very stout pillow, or I could take some blankets, put them up, because I really need to get the legs high up here. I might even use an ottoman, a piece of furniture, something that will allow my legs, my ankles to be high. And I have a strap available. So I'm going to come pretty close to this stack, scooting myself in close, and I'm going to just take part of my strap and go around my feet and go to my inner ankles. Knees are wide, and because I'm going to support, I really want my legs to be supported, and so I have the strap just to help hold my feet a little bit together. I'm going to rest here for a moment. I want my ankles to be at least, I'd love it if they were higher than my knees, or at least not much lower than my knees, so that I can open through the inner hip joint, the lower belly, and then I'm going to take the strap off of my feet, bring my knees together, and I'm going to scoot away from my strap. I might either use some of my props to go under my knees, get those blocks out of there, to come down to Shavasana. Or maybe I want to just lie on the ground. You're welcome to begin to allow your breath to deepen. And bringing some movement to the body, make a mindful transition to one side. Take your time as you bring yourself back up to sitting. And we're going to do just a little pranayama.
Lynn,
What was that? We're going to take a little pranayama practice. Once you come back up into sitting, can you bring your hand, your right hand, into the shape for Nadi Shodhana, for alternate nostril breathing? And resting your thumb and your ring and pinky finger just below the bony cartilage of your nose. Go ahead and inhale through both nostrils and exhale through both nostrils. And then when you're ready, constrict the right nostril and inhale left. Constrict your left nostril, exhale right. Inhale right. And exhale left. And continue going for 3 more rounds of your breath. So that was 1 round. You begin on the left and you end on the left. And the next time that you do exhale left, you can release your right hand and just sit for a few moments. Just notice the air as it moves in through both nostrils. And can you notice that if one of your nostrils feels more open than the other one? And then draw your attention into the nostril that feels more constricted. And then place your attention at the space at the back of both nostrils where the air joins to one. And maybe your awareness can rise a little bit more up towards the third eye. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste.